Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network, heard across the USA. And this time of this hour has flown by. And obviously, for those of you that have been listening to our podcasts and all the different things, I love some of the topics that Dr. Shawn talks about. And I think this is one that is really important in physical wellness. And, you know, we don't even think about it as individuals. How healthy is our gut inside? Dr. Weiss, how do you define gut health?
In my coaching practice, it all goes back to the gut. There's such a gut-brain connection. It all affects your physical health, but your gut has its own ecosystem. I mean, it's called the gut microbiome. And if you can picture, think about this, 100 trillion types of bacteria, viruses, fungi, all living in your gut, in this microbiome. Wow. It's its own ecosystem. And what's funny, there are types in the human gut, there are types of bacteria and organisms that are found nowhere else in the world.
Wow.
Only in the human gut. So we tend to forget, it's getting a lot of attention. I'm so glad now that people are paying attention to it. When I do practice kind of my root cause health, I'm digging deeper into the gut and the root causes of the illnesses and the symptoms we're having.
Absolutely.
So you want to know what is affecting your gut.
The
nutrition we just talked about. Poor nutrition, processed food is going to certainly cause a lot of inflammation in your gut lining.
Right.
And your junctions in your gut lining are supposed to be nice and tight. They're not supposed to be permeable. And so when you're eating a lot of processed food or things with a lot of toxic things, there's junctions will separate, and it's called leaky.
Sure.
You probably hear leaky gut. Well, what happens with that? Then that stuff gets out into your bloodstream. Okay. So for instance, a good example would be, for instance, let's say what inflammatory foods, breads in general are pretty much inflammatory. So let's say an inflammatory food. I ate a bunch of bread or had pasta that, it's not. What happens, and like when you eat crappy food and the next day you wake up and you feel really stiff, like your joints feel stiff, you feel a little puffy.
Sure. Yeah.
Think you gained 5 pounds. Well, you didn't gain 5 pounds. It's impossible to do. You're inflamed. So that food that you consumed caused inflammation in your gut lining and permeated in through. And that's when you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm just so stiff. Like maybe I did a lot of sodium in that. I'm retaining water. Like you just feel stiff. So the gut is so important because think about it. It's kind of its own filter, right?
Right.
What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. We want to provide energy to our body. So what is in our gut is important. And there's lots of things lead to chronic diseases. I say test, don't guess. If you've not had your gut tested and you do have problems with digestion, or maybe you've had chronic issues with diarrhea, constipation, anything like that, GERD, you name it, acid reflux, then you should get your gut tested if you haven't. It's very easy to do. The labs can be delivered to your home, but that gives me a profile of what bacteria are in your gut and are they the right kind of bacteria?
Obviously, as you get older, you're supposed to have colonoscopies and things like that. Is that part of that whole process?
Well, colonoscopy is a little bit different. You're going to look for things like diverticulitis and polyps and things like that. But when you're testing your actual stool, there, kind of gives you a nice picture, kind of what's going on in your system. For instance, I've always had chronic issues with digestion. And when I looked at my gut, there's 4 really important bacteria that are good. Remember, there's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria, and you need to have that balance, right? Well, 2 of the most important gut bacteria were not even present in my gut.
Yeah.
So then I know that's the kind of probiotic I'm going to go look for. I'm going to look for the ones that have those in there. So just knowing that information is super critical. But again, a lifetime of things. If you've been on antibiotics a lot, that's going to affect your gut lining. The food that you put in every day, the fast foods, are going to affect your gut lining. You really want to steer towards organic fruits and vegetables, organic meats, grass-fed beef, things that are going to serve you, right? and your
Yeah.
gut, help with your
Well,
digestion.
and you know, when you're talking about too, gut health is how many of us just go and we don't even think about the benefits of buying organic. And I will tell you, probably in the last 3 years, I have been much more mindful of buying organic. And I don't think in the big picture it costs that much more. It really doesn't.
Well, you can get, nowadays you can get organic anywhere, certified
Yeah.
organic stuff. At Walmart, you can get organic
Yeah, it's amazing
vegetables.
now, right?
So, and again, yes, they don't have the shelf life. You're going to have to eat
No.
them,
Yeah.
but you don't want all the preservatives in
No.
your foods that make them last a year, right? So,
Right.
absolutely, you want to try to do that. Shop the perimeter of the store.
Mhm.
But in terms of your gut microbiome, if you need, testing, I highly advocate for that. If if
Mhm.
you're over 50 or 60 years old and you've had chronic digestive issues, we have I call it not a sick care system, not a healthcare system, or, a pill for an
Mhm.
ill, where you just want to go find out what it is and try to take a magic pill for it. But what about the root
Right.
causes? The root causes are lying in your gut.
Interesting. And do we ever really think about it? And, this is so important and in the process. So when you work with individuals, those are things that you can help kind of point them to. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. I do a 60 days to optimal health program where
Mhm.
I'm going to take a medical history with you. I mean, you're going to have a form to fill out. I'm doing sleep questionnaires, stress questionnaires, and we're going to do gut testing. That's how we
Mhm.
start the whole thing. We want to lead you to optimal health by making small changes in all of those areas of optimal wellness. And I consider those to be
Mhm.
stress, sleep, nutrition, gut health, emotional health, exercise.
Right. And about 30 seconds. What about supplements? Sometimes people will take supplements. How can those help?
That's
Is that
very
a whole?
individualized, and you need to
Yeah.
know, yeah, that's we could do a whole segment, which might be good on that, Suzanne.
Okay.
It's so easy to get that stuff right now. You have to have vetted products.
Right.
Um, you can get anything on Amazon, but are you getting what you think you're getting? That's the one
Right.
thing. Yeah, I could go buy, $2, you know,
Mhm.
magnesium on Amazon, but I want to have a trusted product. So
Right.
I do have a list of trusted products from a supplement standpoint. The last thing I like to recommend is somebody to take 25 supplements.
Yeah,
That's really
exactly.
harsh on your body. But as we get older, your important things, magnesium is on my list of must.
Yep. I take it.
Sometimes B12 is important
Yep.
too. Um, I do ashwagandha, which it helps me to sleep. It helps me remain calm.
Mhm.
It's natural.
Fabulous.
But supplements are tricky because you have to know, what your comorbidities are. Do you have
Right.
illnesses, do you have chronic diseases? So
Right.
it's important to know that.
Right. And I want to just really quick, you give free consultations to individuals that might be interested in improving their physical health, emotional health, etc. Isn't that correct?
Yep, you can find that on my website. I have a calendar link where you can schedule on your own time, and I would love to chat with you and hear your story, kind of point you in the
Absolutely.
direction.
And you can reach Dr. Weiss at www.seniorhealthandwellness.org. Answers for Elders thanks you for watching the Vitality Revolution. Discover a blueprint to find a whole new gear in life, new awareness, and greater potential. Subscribe and be a part of our community. Answers for Elders is the North Star of navigating senior care, featuring content to help later life go a lot easier.